Friday, 9:18 p.m. Your oldest friends are gathering beneath the string lights of a rooftop restaurant overlooking Chicago. Jordan is holding a glass of champagne. Maya is moving the birthday cake toward the center. Chris is telling everybody to squeeze closer together. And you are standing several feet away, holding the phone. You have somehow become the person who always takes the photograph. As you open the camera, a notification appears across the screen. TOTALNETWORTH. $1,238,662. Investments, cash, and the equity inside the modest townhouse nobody at this table has ever considered impressive. The notification disappears. Maya looks toward you. Make sure you get the whole table. Jordan raises his glass. And don't worry about tonight. We know you're between jobs. You say nothing. You lift the phone and take the picture. Everyone inside the photograph looks richer than you. The tailored clothes, the vacations, the remodeled homes, the expensive restaurant, but the only millionaire at the table is standing outside the frame. And 2 days earlier, you quietly rejected an offer that would have paid you another $120,000. To understand why, you have to return to a very different photograph, 18 years earlier. You are 25. The apartment is almost empty. The dining table is a cardboard box covered with a clean bed sheet. Maya, Jordan, and Chris are sitting around it eating pizza from paper plates. Everyone has recently found their first serious job. Maya earns $48,000. Jordan earns $57,000. Chris earns just over $61,000. Your salary is $54,000. It feels enormous. Then rent clears, taxes disappear, the student loan payment arrives, and the number becomes ordinary surprisingly quickly. Chris places a small digital camera on the kitchen counter. He activates the timer. Everyone squeezes together. Next version of this picture, he says. We'll all be rich. The flash fires. Nobody asks what rich means. You assume it means the same thing to everybody. That assumption does not survive the first promotion. For you, the change begins with a phone call from your mother. Your father's employer is closing one of its facilities. His position will disappear in 6 weeks. Your parents are not destitute, but they have a mortgage, insurance premiums, a car payment, and less cash than you imagined adults were supposed to have. For the next several months, every family conversation sounds uncertain. Your father applies for jobs beneath his previous salary. Your mother delays a dental procedure. One damaged water heater suddenly feels capable of changing everything. Your father eventually finds another position. But you never forget how quickly a normal life became dependent on another person saying yes. You do not decide to become rich. You decide that you never want one employer to control whether you can breathe. Your company offers a retirement account. It also provides a partial matching contribution. You begin contributing 6% of your salary. A smaller amount moves automatically into a separate account. At the end of the first year, approximately $6,700 is invested. Another $4,000 sits in cash. Nobody can see either number. Jordan's progress is easier to recognize. He moves into a safer 2-bedroom apartment before his daughter is born. Maya uses part of her raise to take her mother on a trip they had discussed for years. Chris buys better clothing after being assigned to client meetings. People take him more seriously. The confidence helps him earn another promotion. Their spending is not pointless. Jordan buys stability. Maya buys time with someone she loves. Chris buys access to rooms where appearance affects opportunity. You buy something less visible, distance between yourself and financial panic. 18 months later, your salary rises to $62,000. You increase the amount leaving each paycheck. Your investments reach approximately $23,000. Then the group begins planning 6 days in Mexico. Your share would be around $2,300. You can afford it, but your investment account is approaching $25,000. Crossing that line feels important. The trip feels replaceable. There will always be another summer, another flight, another hotel. You tell everyone that work is busy. They go without you. Photographs begin appearing in the group chat. Maya and her mother standing beside the ocean. Jordan attempting to dance. Chris asleep in a chair while everyone stacks sunglasses on his head. You are happy for them. You are also relieved when your account crosses $25,000 3 weeks later. The following year, Maya's mother begins experiencing serious health problems. The group never repeats that trip. Nobody tells you that you made the wrong decision. That somehow makes it harder. Your account continues growing. 23,000 becomes 38, then 55. At 30, the investment balance reaches approximately $76,000. Your salary has climbed to $82,000. Your friends' lives continue becoming visible. Weddings, housewarmings, airports, birthday dinners, children standing beside front doors on the first day of school. You attend many of the local events. You are not living in darkness, eating instant noodles. But whenever something is expensive, inconvenient, or difficult to justify, you are usually the person missing from the photograph. Your progress appears differently. A contribution confirmation, a quarterly statement, a number increasing behind a password. The strategy is working, but restraint is slowly becoming more than something you practice. It is becoming your identity. At 32, you begin dating Lena. She is thoughtful with money. She has savings. She does not expect luxury. After both of you finish an exhausting work quarter, she suggests a long weekend away. Before she finishes describing the hotel, you are calculating the airfare. Then the missed contribution. Then what that contribution might hypothetically become after another 20 years. Lena watches your expression change. I'm not asking you to waste money, she says. I'm asking you to stop treating every good day like it stole something from your future. You compromise. You take a cheaper day trip. It is pleasant, but the negotiation follows both of you there. Every meal feels evaluated. Every additional night has to defeat a spreadsheet before it can happen. The relationship ends several months later, not because you refused to purchase something expensive, because every shared plan felt as if it had to prove its financial return before it was allowed to matter. For the first time, you wonder whether discipline and fear have been wearing the same clothes. Then the market falls. Your investments have reached approximately $174,000. Within months, the balance drops below $130,000. More than $40,000 disappears on a screen. The vacations you decline still exist in photographs. The money you accumulated can lose years of progress without asking permission. You stare at the falling balance and feel ridiculous. Maybe everybody else understood something you did not. Maybe spending the money would at least have produced a memory nobody could erase. You do not sell, not because you know exactly what will happen next. You do not. Markets do not promise convenient recoveries. You simply decide that abandoning an 18-year plan during its most frightening moment would turn temporary uncertainty into a permanent decision. The account eventually recovers. Your salary rises again. At 36, approximately $325,000 is invested. You also purchase a modest townhouse, not the largest home the lender says you could potentially finance, a smaller one with payments that leave room in your budget. Your friends congratulate you, then return to discussing Jordan's renovated kitchen and Chris's new address. From the outside, you still appear behind, but something has changed inside the account. Your contributions remain important, yet the investment movements are becoming larger than anything you personally add during a normal month. Some years are strong, some are disappointing. There is no perfectly smooth compounding curve. But time is beginning to carry more of the weight. At 39, your investments reach approximately $536,000. You have accumulated meaningful equity inside the townhouse. Your cash reserves could cover an extended interruption in employment. Yet nobody around you knows this. Privacy initially feels protective, then it begins producing consequences. You decline another group weekend. The next invitation never arrives. Not because your friends dislike you, they believe they are respecting the answer you have given repeatedly. No. At work, your responsibilities increase. Your salary reaches $178,000. You invest through the workplace retirement plan and a taxable brokerage account. Your lifestyle improves too, but much more slowly than your income. At 42, the numbers look like this: approximately $506,000 inside retirement accounts, another $312,000 in taxable investments, about $82,000 in cash, and roughly $338,000 in home equity. Total net worth, $1,238,662. But this does not mean you have $1.2 million sitting in a checking account. Part of it is retirement money. Part of it is exposed to market fluctuations. Part of it is inside a home. The number does not make every purchase harmless. It does something more valuable. It gives you room to make a decision without immediate financial panic. That decision arrives on Wednesday, 8:03 a.m. Your employer has been acquired. 4 retention agreements are arranged across a conference table. The acquiring company wants several senior employees to remain during the transition. The offer includes a $120,000 retention bonus before taxes, a higher salary, and a new title. But there are conditions. You must remain for 3 years, you must relocate, and under this particular agreement, leaving voluntarily before specified dates could require repayment of some or all of the bonus. The details are written plainly inside the contract. Your colleagues are excited, and their decisions are reasonable. One has 2 children approaching college, another recently purchased a larger home, a third genuinely wants the promotion. They are not trapped inside financial disasters. They simply have lives constructed around incomes that cannot easily disappear. The agreement fits those lives. You examine your own copy. For 18 years you have watched other people upgrade. Their homes became larger, their vacations became longer, their progress became visible. You often wondered whether you had fallen behind. Now everybody around the table is being offered more money. But the money purchases 3 more years of control over where they live, what work they perform, and when they can leave. For the first time, your invisible progress becomes physical, not through a sports car, not through a mansion, through the ability to close a folder. Human Resources asks whether you need another day. You say no, you decline the agreement. You are not retiring forever. $1 million net worth does not automatically make permanent retirement safe for every person. Taxes, expenses, healthcare, account access, and investment risks still exist. But you have enough accessible money and low enough fixed costs to choose what comes next carefully. You place your employee badge on the table, then walk out of the building. Nobody applauds. Nobody knows that this is the moment you were building for. 2 days later, you arrive at the rooftop restaurant. Your friends know that your employment has ended. They assume the acquisition eliminated your position. Jordan sends you job listings. Maya quietly asks the restaurant to choose a less expensive menu. Chris reaches for the check before it reaches your side of the table. Their concern is sincere. That is what makes it painful. You spent 18 years hiding the numbers. They filled the silence with the only story your visible life provided, the cautious friend. The person who never upgraded. The person who might need help. Chris pays your share before you can stop him. You remember covering part of his rent when both of you were 25. The gesture is kind. It also makes the distance between perception and reality impossible to ignore. You explain that you were not dismissed. You chose not to remain. Jordan looks confused. You walked away from the bonus. You nod. Maya asks the question everybody else is avoiding. How long can you afford not to work? You could reveal the number. You could place the phone in the center of the table. You could watch everybody reinterpret 18 years in 5 seconds, but doing that would turn friendship into a scoreboard. So you answer differently, long enough to choose carefully. The table becomes quiet. Chris looks impressed. Jordan looks uncomfortable. Maya looks sad. Then she asks something you did not prepare for. Were you happy while you were building it? You begin describing the security, your parents' employment scare, the market decline, the freedom to reject the retention agreement. All of it is true. Maya listens. Then she reminds you that after the 5th declined invitation, people stopped asking. Jordan admits that your silence sometimes felt like judgment. Whenever someone purchased something, you appeared to be calculating what the money might have become instead. They never knew you were frightened. They believed you considered yourself more responsible. And suddenly, the story becomes less comfortable. Your friends performed success through homes, trips, and photographs. But you performed restraint just as intensely. You told yourself that you were protecting your future. Sometimes you were. Other times you were hiding from uncertainty behind a number that could never declare itself complete. You quietly became wealthy, but you also became quiet. The distinction matters. Over the following year, you do not reverse everything. You do not liquidate the portfolio and begin purchasing luxury items. You accept independent consulting work that pays less but gives you greater control over your schedule. Your investments continue fluctuating. Some months rise, others fall. You begin allowing experiences to exist without forcing each one to justify itself as a financial asset. That is the adjustment this fictional protagonist makes, not a universal formula, not individualized investment advice. You cannot recover the trip you missed. You cannot reopen the relationship with Lena exactly as it existed. Money compounds, missed time does not, but new time still exists. You attend Jordan's daughter's graduation. You travel to Chris's smaller second wedding. You visit Maya without waiting for a major occasion. And gradually photographs begin containing something they had been missing. You. Which brings you back to Friday, 9:18 p.m. The rooftop restaurant, the phone in your hand, the portfolio notification showing $1,238,662. Jordan repeats his offer to cover the evening. You thank him. Then tell the group, "I'm doing better than I look. I just haven't been very good at explaining what I was building or what I was missing." You hand the phone to the server, then step beside your friends. The timer begins counting down. For the first time in years, you are not studying the photograph from outside it. The flash fires. They spent money and built memories. You invested money and built options. Becoming wealthy did not prove that one life was correct. It finally gave you enough freedom to stop treating the two as opposites. So, what is harder to recover? Money you spent or time you postponed?